Tariq, massive outages around the world. Talk to us about the significance of the size and scale that we've been seeing.
I think it's a developing story, so we are just about to know how big it is. But from my understanding, a lot of computers using basically operating on Windows have been basically updated with a faulty update. And now everyone around the world has to work manually to remove and reset these machines. It's an incredible amount of work. And of course, in this case, you have to do triage. What are the machines that are the most important?
Yeah, and what industries do you think, in terms of this triage, would be the most important when we talk about going to a manual update? Is it going to be key infrastructure? Is it going to be ports and airports? What do you think is the most important?
Well, this is quite a new thing. Usually we're talking about cyber attacks where people have been specifically targeting, critical infrastructure. Here, the most critical computer could be anywhere. Is it the one at the counter for an airline company that doesn't work and there's a line of 50 people waiting? Is it a bank computer that you need to operate? It's going to be a big issue. And as you know, it is Friday. There's a rule in security is never update on a Friday unless you want to work your entire weekend. But right now, I'm not sure a weekend will be enough to move on, to update all these machines.
Okay. And talk to us about the cybersecurity here, Tariq. When you're looking at CrowdStrike, they're a company dedicated to try to prevent hackers from having access to these PCs. So here's this faulty update, ironically knocking off much of the world offline. What exactly does a faulty update mean? What does that mean to people who might not be as tech savvy as you?
Well, first of all, we think it's a faulty update. For now, it's the good news because it happened in the past that some hackers managed to take control of a publisher and provide a faulty update on purpose. So that's the good news. So what it usually means is when you have a Windows computer, it can be attacked by intruders, hackers, virus. So a company like CrowdStrike is basically you delegate to this company the security of millions of computers. And most of the time, when you get a new update of security, what is supposed to be done is to test on a few computers to make sure everything works fine, and then you deploy. But now we live in a society where there's a rush. You have to push things all the time. And if the previous update seemed fine, there's no reason the new one is not. And then you start getting things out. And we're going to have millions of hours of machines to be replaced one by one, updated. Is going to take a very long process. So basically, CrowdStrike, who was supposed to protect computers, have now not infected but corrupted all of these computers, and we have to go by hand, one by one, correcting these computers. It's going to be a lot of time.
And so will this outage perhaps leave any computers or networks more vulnerable to attacks by hackers?
This is the main concern because there's one of the ways to pretty much make sure that this update do not concern you or doesn't affect you. You have to remove the security offered by CrowdStrike, and that when you're doing so, you would get exposed to attacks. So it's a very complex situation, and I'm sure every head of security will have to figure out how to do it because usually, these machines have to be updated by what we call admin systems. So people with high privilege and security privilege, you cannot allow anyone, updating and moving these computers for a reason. You don't want to make sure someone putting a USB key or a virus. So it actually created a big tension because the amount of people that are capable of, repairing these machines are very few. And they have, as I said, hours and hours and hours ahead of them, terrible hours of updating of the machine one by one.
Indeed, and it's a developing story we'll continue to follow here on Paris Direct. Tariq, thank you very much. Tariq Krim speaking to us
Thank you so much.
from Paris.